In this last pre-initiation presentation, I will discuss record keeping. We ask you to record seizures, supplements, diet, ketones and specific gravity, and medications. These are important because they allow us to track the progress being made. Without them, we would not know if things were improving, and thus could not make PKT better. These records are all important in the care of you or your child, and we ask that you try to be as accurate and consistent as possible. We will provide you with paper records for your convenience. However, if you prefer tracking things elsewhere, such as on an Excel document, calendar, or seizure tracking app, that works as well. All of this information should be recorded daily, with the exception of medication records, which can be recorded as medications change. We use the seizure records you give us to determine how we proceed with PKT. We create something called a seizure score, which lets us see what improvements have taken place regarding seizures. An example of a seizure score graph is shown. This graph shows the severity of seizures when the patient started PKT versus at the most recent clinic visit. With your help keeping these records, we can adjust PKT to work toward improving seizures. Seizures should be recorded every time they are seen. There are 6 things to record for each seizure, and all of these are important. Seizure type will be personalized to the individual. After you tell us what types of seizures you or your child has, we will create a guide at the bottom of each record page that you can reference for seizure type. The example record shown has 6 different types of seizures listed at the bottom. In this example, if someone had an absent seizure, you would write 2 in the seizure type box. The next box is titled Number Seen. If you see multiple seizures throughout the day that are the same in severity, length, type, and characteristics, you can record the total number seen for the day here. However, if any of these factors differ, we ask that you record them separately. If you see clusters of seizures, clarify if number seen is total number of seizures in the cluster or total number of cluster events seen. Severity can be thought of as the strength of a seizure. This is also personalized to each patient. You will determine the severity for each seizure because you know the typical range in severity the patient has. Severity ranges are listed from mild to severe at the bottom of the sheet. Seizure length can be recorded in seconds or minutes. If seizures occur in clusters, specify if you are recording the length of the cluster event or the length of the individual seizure in the cluster. If you are recording cluster length, please specify the number of seizures seen. The comments section is for you to tell us anything else not listed in this chart. Notable things to record include falling asleep directly after a seizure, falling down, or requiring emergency seizure medication such as Diastat. If the seizure was typical and nothing out of the ordinary happened, you do not need to record anything here. Time to check your progress. You or your child has a single 2-minute-long seizure. It is a myoclonic seizure, which was followed by falling asleep. It was one of the most severe seizures you or your child has had. How would you fill this in on a seizure log? The correct way to fill out the seizure log is shown above. The correct date is listed first. On the bottom it says that a myoclonic seizure is seizure type 3. Only one was observed and it was severe. The length could say 2 minutes or 120 seconds. The comment section mentioned that the seizure was followed by falling asleep. We use daily intake records to measure the dose of medication consumed. This helps us understand what is or isn't working. With this information, we can help create the best meals possible. Daily intake forms provided to you will be used to record several things. These sheets will have charts to record meals, supplements, bowel movements, specific gravity, ketones, and additional comments. I will discuss meals first. Every meal your child eats should be recorded. It is easiest to write this down after every meal. When we send you recipes, each recipe will have its own unique recipe number. For recording, you will record recipe number and amount consumed. For amount consumed, we ask that you try to be as specific as possible. For example, write percentage eaten, or if there was one part of the meal not eaten, indicate that. As you can see here, each meal is labeled with the meal eaten and amount eaten. The meal eaten represents the recipe number. If one food group is not being consumed, it is important to note in this box. Next are supplements and bowel movements. While seizures and meals are important for PKT, this information will help maintain health in other ways. Supplements provide vitamins and minerals needed to maintain good health. Without them, PKT could not be continued for long. Bowel movement records help us know if you or your child is constipated. With this information, we can determine if additional supplements are needed. The daily intake form will list the supplements you or your child currently takes. This part should not take long to record, as you just check boxes if the supplement was taken. There is a section for bowel movements. Here you can record if any bowel movements occurred that day, how many, and any notable descriptions of the bowel movement. This includes diarrhea or very hard stool. After this, there will be a comment section. This is blank for you to write anything else you want us to know. Ketones and specific gravity are the last things recorded on daily intake sheets. These should be recorded twice a day, once in the morning and once at night. Multi-sticks, one of the items needed for PKT, are used to test for ketones and specific gravity in urine. You will need to collect samples of urine, either in a cup or by placing a cotton ball in a diaper. Next, urine will be dropped onto the ketone and specific gravity sections of the multi-stick strip. You will need to wait the amount of time indicated on the package in order to see the results. For ketones, this is 40 seconds, and for specific gravity, it is 45 seconds. Finally, after waiting the designated amount of time, the resulting color on the strip can be compared to the label to see the results. Specific gravity measures hydration and ranges from 1.000 to 1.030. Lower numbers are ideal because it means you or your child are well hydrated. If specific gravity is 1.025 or above, more water needs to be given. We at the PKT Clinic want to ensure our patients have the best health, which includes staying hydrated. Dehydration can lead to severe health consequences if not addressed. Keeping records of this allows you to see how hydrated you or your child are and see if more water is needed. Ketones are how we make sure ketosis has been achieved. Ketosis is the mechanism reducing seizures, so it is important to have high ketones. If ketones appear in the negative values, this is of concern. Diet prescription may need to be changed in this case. Without these records, we would not know if ketosis was being achieved. Here is an example of where you would fill out specific gravity and ketones. This should not take long, as you can just check the box that indicates the correct value for that day. It is helpful to choose one symbol for mornings and one for nights so we can keep track of which values go with each other. For example, using X's for mornings and O's for nights as shown in the chart below. As you have learned, you play a big role in how successful PKT is. With your help, we can properly monitor progress and personalize PKT to best fit you or your child. Once again, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. You are now ready to begin the PKT process.